Oh, just before we start, we'd like to thank the Simons Foundation for our travel grant. Yeah.
Imagine you're a kid again, on your way to Target to buy the hottest new toy. But you're not buying a Barbie, action figure, nor a Lego set. No, you buy a kit, but not just any kit.
You buy a bio-exploration kit that lets you grow and create toys out of bacterial cellulose and fungus.
What? Wouldn't that be gross and weird? Well, let's back up a little. 2 generations ago, our grandparents made their own toys out of scraps of trash and local natural materials.
Now most kids go to the nearest store and buy a toy right off the shelf.
There is a decrease in kids who are creatively resourceful and an increase in easy access to plastic toys. The toy industry is not only adding to the world's plastic problem, but it's also excluding our generation from the making, designing, and environmental conversation.
90% of toys are made of some sort of unrecyclable plastic, and the average toy fad lasts only 8 months. So what can we do against the villainous plastic in the toy industry?
Our solution is to provide the world with a bio-design toy kit that sparks and sustains interest in making, science, biodesign, and environmental sustainability. Our main goal is to engage the public in biodesign and environmental sustainability conversations.
Hi, I'm Trisha.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Anne. We're the Bio Buddies.
We're a garage makerspace team from California. We all go to different high schools, but we meet up outside of school. Before this journey, we considered ourselves artists and makers, but now we consider ourselves bio-explorers and educators too.
Over the past 8 months, we have been working on designing the Grow It Yourself Bio Buddies toy kit. It includes all the necessary supplies that are needed to grow, create, explore, and play with the biomaterials kombucha leather and mycelium, which are represented by our friendly characters Scooby and Fun Gus.
Half of the kit is dedicated towards Scooby, which stands for Symbiotic Culture of Bacteria and Yeast. Scooby is a bacterial cellulose that grows along the top of kombucha. Yep, the weird health drink. When Scooby dries, it becomes thin and turns into kombucha leather. Our kit comes with pre-grown kombucha leather so that the user can familiarize themselves with the material before they start to grow their own.
The other part of our kit is fungus, the representative of mycelium. Mycelium is a fungi's root-like system and feeds off of a substrate. Mycelium can be grown in many different shapes and structures based on what mold the substrate is packed into.
The user first begins their journey by becoming familiar with the actual biomaterial itself. After that, the rest of the journey consists of growing, creating, and exploring.
With Scooby, the user first combines store-bought kombucha with a sugary tea in a mason jar. They can then cover the opening of the mason jar with a coffee filter and draw a goofy face on it. Next, users can track what and when they fed their cultures by writing on speech bubble stickers. More advanced users can add soap dyes to make their Scoobies colorful or use envelope pressers for textures.
The mycelium incubated bark would be bought from Ecovative, who sends it through the mail. Users would then activate the mixture by adding water and flour and grow it for a bit. The mycelium would then be pressed into a mold, and once it looks white and fuzzy, users can pop it out and bake it in an oven for 2 hours at 180 degrees Fahrenheit.
We want our kit to sustain interest so that it doesn't just become a fad that gets thrown into the landfill after only 8 months. So we designed a series of activities that grow with the user's interest as they explore with kombucha leather and mycelium. However, these activities are only a small sampling of the scientific and creative possibilities of our kit and these materials. Our kit can go as far as the user takes it, but we've just provided a few little activities just to get them started on their journey. To create engaging and approachable activities, we related these to existing popular toys like Legos and dolls. And a lot of these activities are designed to use like little scraps of kombucha so that even the small fails are being used.
Our first Scooby activity are kombucha leather wings. Users glue kombucha leather onto the back of 3D printed wings that can snap onto Legos. This way, we can help users connect kombucha leather to a more well-known toy that they're more familiar with. The second activity is a kaleidoscope. We provide the materials, and all the user needs to do is assemble the kaleidoscope and put scraps of kombucha leather at the bottom in the petri dish, along with natural plant materials. This draws nature into the user's journey as well.
Paper dolls. Our kit comes with 3 styles of laser-cut paper dolls. All the user has to do is place kombucha behind the outline of the doll to dress it. This activity is the perfect way to reuse scraps and fails. Sticky, normally unusable kombucha leather can easily be placed on the paper without needing glue or tape. Users can also piece together 8 circles of kombucha leather to create an LED lantern. These lanterns can be personalized as well. Sharpies can be drawn on kombucha leather and act like stickers to be pasted onto the lantern as well. Each activity is a unique combination of art, science, and the creativity of the user.
We also have 3 activities for the material mycelium. In the most basic one, users just reuse molds from plastic containers, which can be anything from chocolate molds to plastic water bottles, even sandwich containers. Next, users can use the custom molds that are provided in the kit, which we designed in Tinkercad, 3D printed, and then vacuum formed ourselves. They can mix and match the 3 tops and the 3 bottoms to create a unique creature that is also a planner. Finally, more curious users can even design their own mold like we did and grow mycelium in it.
Want more fun? We got you covered. You can blend these 2 biomaterials. For example, you can dress a mycelium doll in kombucha leather clothing, or even decorate your other creatures that you did in the mycelium explorations with kombucha leather hats.
More advanced users can grow an incubator for mycelium out of mycelium to speed up the growing process.
This activity includes coding and circuitry using a Cricut and its Circuit Playground Express. Not only is this a useful device, but also brings in a new perspective on technology. Instead of seeing just a heating device, it looks more like a goofy pet. By combining technology and biomaterials, we can make both of these 2 subjects more approachable and friendly.
We want to provide users with a kit that's environmentally sustainable in all aspects. So we have our users tap into their local waste streams. This way we can introduce them to circular design in an approachable way. Rather than throwing away a plastic toy in 8 months and letting it die in the landfills, our users can instead grow new projects over and over again without generating any plastic waste. And even if they decide to throw away a project, they can decompose as they are made of natural materials.
We found ways to tap into the waste stream to get users to reuse and recycle within their own community. By reusing waste, users can reflect on and rethink about what they normally throw out. Kombucha needs to be fed sugary tea, so we also found out that extra slushy left in dispensers can also be used to feed kombucha cultures.
Mycelium uses a substrate to grow, so we experimented instead using a bunch of different local materials like sage twigs, rice, oatmeal, used coffee grounds from Starbucks, and even the tea we used to brew tea for our kombucha. Not only can these materials be used, but also a bunch of different materials can be pasteurized in pressure cookers and crock pots and then be used as a substrate.
When we were doing our mycelium explorations, we 3D printed and then vacuum formed our own molds using recycled milk cartons. And we also pressed mycelium into reused plastic containers such as chocolate trays and sandwich containers. We also try to draw nature into the user's journey using simple things like the patterns in our kombucha leather wing activity, or even the pieces of natural plant material that we incorporate into our other activities.
Our journey consisted of researching, exploring, playing, growing, designing, and lots of fails and learnings. 8 months ago, we were completely clueless about what biodesign, kombucha, and mycelium even were. Our own experience mirrored that of our target audience, so we were able to create an engaging toy kit for kids and teens.
When we first began, we had no experience in biodesign, so we started with basic explorations and some field trips. We first got a tour of the biotinkering lab at the Tech Interactive in San Jose. There we learned what kombucha and kombucha leather were and how to grow them. Then we began our own explorations with kombucha leather, like lanterns and wings. After that, after actually becoming familiar with the material, we then began growing it ourselves. We also began growing mycelium ourselves, first by just reusing molds, and then actually creating our own by vacuum forming and 3D printing.
Throughout our journey, we've talked to many different experts in different fields who have given us feedback throughout the entire process and given us advice on how to approach biodesign and toy kit design. We talked to a NASA astrobiologist, the CEO of RedWorks, a co-founder of MicroWorks, Liam Nelson of Lego, and SE3D. We also talked to Tito Jankowski, our mentor, who gave us a lot of feedback throughout our whole journey. And Caitlin Nealon and Anya Schultz of the Tech Interactive gave us a tour of the Biotinkering Lab, as well as the opportunity to hold a workshop there.
To start prototyping our kits, we listed potential materials that would be needed based on what would be used to grow the biomaterials and what you needed to make the example projects. Next, we made prototype cardboard boxes. After designing them online, we received them, and we also decided to combine both the Scooby and fungus parts into one kit.
When growing with biomaterials, failures are inevitable. From it, users gain important skills like patience and iteration. So we hope to teach from our journey and the journey of the kit user, not just to celebrate fails, but to celebrate the discoveries and learnings that are gained from failures.
While we were designing our kombucha leather wing activity, we discovered that it's much easier to glue already dried kombucha onto the back of the wings rather than trying to grow a Scooby around them. After talking to NASA's Lynn Rothschild, we tried to grow mycelium on different substrates inside of boba straws so we could compare how each substrate grew. However, we discovered that the mycelium in the middle of the straw wasn't getting enough air to grow. We also tried to use SunFounder, an Arduino and breadboard kit, to program our mycelium incubator. Ken Hawthorne helped us code the boards, yet we realized this would be too difficult of a process to include in a kit.
In our journey, we had 4 very different public events where we had the chance to learn and interact with a wide range of people. In the San Jose Holiday Craft Fair, we conducted a mini survey asking participants how they felt about kombucha and mycelium and what their dream toy was. More than the kids, we noticed that the adults were wary of touching these biomaterials as it was once alive. People also told us that the smell of kombucha was weird, so we began on changing the smell by using green and oolong tea instead of English breakfast, and also used cloves to mask the smell as well.
This past February, we presented our kombucha leather explorations at FabLearn, which is a maker conference that this year was held here in New York at Columbia University's Teacher College. We presented in the student panel and the poster session. In the poster session, we found that educators are really excited about bringing bio explorations into the classroom. However, we had a lot of concerns about the time and effort needed to maintain cultures of kombucha. We also learned that we have to make sure our audience completely understands what the biomaterial is before we launch into explanations on the different ways to use it. We were also surprised how excited all the people we talked to were about the idea of just growing materials, not even just the activities we had actually done.
We held a workshop at the AYA, or Alliance for Youth Association, in Alum Rock. There, middle schoolers came to our 2-hour workshop to do the kaleidoscope activity. In April, we held a workshop at the Biotinkering Lab at the Tech Interactive, where we tested out our paper dolls, kombucha leather wings, and kaleidoscope activities. 97 kids and adults participated in our workshop. Before and after the workshop, we handed each participant a survey. We asked for their age, gender, interest in nature, interest in science, if they knew what kombucha was, as well as what they thought about bacterial cellulose.
From our pre- and post-assessments, we discovered that there was an increase in the love category for science and a decrease in the so-so and somewhat don't-like categories. Just from our simple bio and craft projects, we got more kids and adults into science. We also had more girls than boys participate in our workshop, as 64% of the people that took our survey were girls, 28% were boys, and 7% chose not to answer. The age group we had most were 10-year-olds, then teens and adults.
Throughout this journey, we've discovered 4 major keys to success.
1, working with biomaterials takes time and patience.
2, it's vital that people first understand the materials before they start explorations with them.
3, process is as important as the final product. And 4, sharing throughout your journey helps build the narrative and allows you to iterate your project.
We envision a store where youth can play and explore with biomaterials, while more advanced users like educators and students can experiment with different substrates. Imagine a Lego store plus a Build-A-Bear store, but with bio. We also hope that our simple explorations can help build and connect communities.
We also imagine that our kit would be available and accessible in many different stores, in many different sections, like the science, art, craft, and kit sections.
In order for us to use biodesign to create a more sustainable world, we need to engage people of all communities in this conversation. Our 3 guiding principles from this journey are: 1, approach explorations with a playful mindset.
2, creation comes to life with the user.
And 3, mix the familiar with the foreign.
We hope to grow a more sustainable world, one GIY Bio Buddies kit at a time. Thank you.
My legs are so wobbly. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Guys, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much
Thank
for that.
you.
That was awesome. So my first question is, I'm from GenSpace, which is the Community Biology Laboratory of New York City. My first question is, may I please buy your incubator?
Yes.
Because I could use a new
For
one.
$1,000.
Actually, yeah. My second question is actually related to the incubator. I'll just stay on that topic. It sounds like you actually started trying to build it with an Arduino and to control the temperature inside. Is that correct? Or yeah,
Yep.
it sounds great. So how are you heating it on the inside? And even though you didn't make it part of the final product of what people could try to build themselves, how far did you yourselves get in terms of it working, please?
So right now we have a dial, we have a sensor on the inside that measures the heat, and then we have the heating pad in the middle, and it heats up, and it has a range right now. It's between 80 and 120 right now, but we would have to change it so that it fit the actual heating temperatures of the materials we have. Yeah.
Fantastic presentation. I wanted to come back to one of the things you learned about process, and I think I heard a couple different times narrative and this notion of building community. And so I saw that you did the workshops, but have you thought about building in a social media component where people could share their stories, share their maybe even do a challenge potentially every once in a while with people all over the nation who are buying the kits or whatever. So given your youth and your generation, I would imagine that the social media component would be maybe a way to do that people who are not in urban centers with workshops or a Gen Space available to them could participate. So I was wondering which social media platforms you think you would use and how.
Right now we have an Instagram account, and we're using a hashtag by GIY Bio Buddies, so we're hoping to build along that. But as we develop our website, we also want to create a gallery page where we can draw from those social media posts or anything that anyone else wants to share, and we would display it on our website so people can get more of an idea of what they can do with those materials, and people can build off one another.
Hi, over here. Wow, thank you so much for being so inspiring and imaginative and creative and just for all of the amazing work. So the first question is, of all of the activities that you've designed and all of the testing that you've done, are there particular activities that you found were the most exciting for people to work with? And then are there future activities that you're thinking about and planning that you're excited about? And then the final question is, are you starting like an organization that we can all join? And can I be your intern, like at your organization?
So for the first question, when we did the workshop at the Tech Interactive, we thought that kids would be more interested in the kombucha Lego wing activity, but they all tended to go towards the kombucha kaleidoscopes. So that was like an activity that worked really well with kids and adults too.
Can you repeat the second question?
Future activities you're excited about.
Oh, okay. We're actually starting to look at bioplastics like agar and chitin.
Yeah.
So something along that line we're looking at too. And then
Can we be your interns?
maybe.
Yes.
Hi, this is Grace with Ecovative. Just wanted to say fantastic job. I had a question about people's reactions and you answered it, and I'm just absolutely floored. So I have a question about, do you have an interest in bringing this to STEAM classrooms and making a curriculum perhaps?
Yeah, that'd be great. We actually did the one with AYA where we did the kaleidoscopes. That was like kind of an after-school activity. So that was kind of like a neat preview to what it might be for like if it was in a classroom.
Yeah, and when we presented at FabLearn, we also designed an illustrated step to how to grow your own kombucha so that educators could take that back to their classroom and try to grow it in a classroom setting.
Please come to Ecovative. Let's talk.
Thank you.
One more question. So congratulations again. You obviously have a very enthusiastic audience here. I was interested because, one, you have an element of design with the activities, but you actually have designed interactions, and I think that's a really important contribution. So could you give us a little bit of perspective on the intergenerational interactions that you saw and the importance of this as you're addressing big challenges with biodesign moving forward?
Yeah, so for the Tech Interactive Challenge, it was just an open workshop. So we had people of all ages, so we had some really young kids, and we actually liked that because then they had like their families helping them and like their friends, and they were like working together, which was really neat, yeah, to see them collaborating.
Yeah, it was just a very collaborative process between like the kids and the parents, which we didn't really see before. So it was great that like parents were helping the kids out, and like kids were also like putting their input like about what they wanted on their like project or things like that.
So one more question over here. So my name's Danielle, and I've been working with EcoBay's material for the last 6 years. And what you guys have done in 6 months blows me away. Oh my gosh. I've got so much praise, like the fact that you're celebrating failure and you're doing it in such a beautiful way. You've learned so much about the value of being able to pass this information along and to be able to open it up to everyone and to do it in such a creative and fun way. It's mind-blowing. And then the one question I have is, how would you like to communicate in the way you educate about the material? How would you like to communicate about the living organism that is part of the material and expand that to more of this larger nature symbiosis with humans?
So I don't know if I'm going to answer this right, but what we're planning on doing is having illustrated instructions with our kits to tell you how to do each of the activities. And with those, we come with like fun fact flashcards where people can learn more about how like the bacteria in the SCOBY works and the yeast works. And then the same thing with mycelium. We'd have a card that says like in the wild how mycelium interacts with different plants in the forest and that type of thing.
Yeah, and then, and then also since we're thinking of a kit idea, we have to also sell it to the parents, and they'd probably be like worried having like their child playing like bacteria and stuff, but hopefully we could advertise that it's like food grade since it's actually from like the drink kombucha, like that's what you grow it from. That works, yeah.
Thank you, GIY Bio Buddies. One more.